So hello everybody. Thank you for joining and welcome to another JuCE event for today. Um, we have a very exciting agenda for you today. We are going to be speaking about um how to position yourself for global university scholarships. And we have a very exciting speaker that is going to be talking to us today. So this is going to be our agenda for today. We have given the 5 minutes for guests to join. We usually have a more busy house, but I guess there might be reasons why it's less busy today, but no worries. It's a recorded session. And it's going to be up on our YouTube as always. So yes, welcome to everybody, and thank you for joining. And special welcome to the students at Center for Memories in Enugu. Thank you for always being here. Thank you for always showing up, and thank you for always joining. And then, of course, special thanks to students from Dansol Secondary School, and parents as well, because sometimes the parents join. I'm not sure the Dansol hostel is here today, but thank you to the students of Dansol and their parents who join. And well, I'm going to be giving the opening remarks. My name is Ada Okeke. I'm the founder of JuCE Africa, and I'm just going to give a very quick run through of what JuCE does, why we're here today, in case this is your first time being here. So JuCE Africa aims to help or support secondary school students to answer that question. What do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to study when you grow up? This is one of the questions that a child is asked the most. In fact, when you meet a child, it's usually say, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? And we find that in Nigeria, in the present Nigeria, there's not a lot of career exposure. There's not a lot of career mentorship and even guidance and support to, explore whatever course or whatever thing you want to do in the university. So that's why JuCE is here today. We want to bridge that gap. We want to highlight exciting careers of today and careers of tomorrow, right? For example, the way medicine looks today is not the way it's going to look in 10 years' time when a secondary school child has to work in the medical industry. So we want to highlight some of those trends and support our children or students or secondary school students to make, exciting career choices that will be very beneficial to them today and in the future. So that's what we do. We host these career spotlights every 2 weeks. We also are going to give internships and open days to students. We have a very exciting announcement coming up at the end of this session as well. So if you were thinking of, jetting out early, I think you might want to wait a little. We also will be hosting a career fair once a year. It's an opportunity to just walk in and ask any career questions you have, talk to any career professional and just network as much as possible. We have mentorships available, mentorship one-on-one. So basically, if you have any question, if you need any support on what course to study, how to convince your parents to help to allow you study one course or the other, if you have any questions related to your career, what course you want to study, what you want to be when you grow up, all of those types of questions, we are committed to helping you figure it out. We will, if you say I'm interested in being a veterinary doctor, we are committed to finding your veterinary doctor who will support you, answer your questions, guide you on your path, right? So thank you and of course, the university preparation program, which is key. There's no point saying all of these things if, for example, you tell us, oh, I want to study robotics, which we've had before on this call, and unfortunately today there's no university in Nigeria that offers the robotics course, right? So there's no point hearing that and we're not able to also guide you on the path to get to where you need to be. And that's why we have the university preparation program. Earlier this year we have had a session on how to, what to do during your holiday to position you, to prepare you for the future. And today we're having one of our university preparation program topics, which is how to position yourself for a global university scholarship, right? If you want to study in the US, in the UK. Today we're focusing on the US because our speaker is from the US. So a Nigerian from the US, but so she has insights to guide you from secondary school up to the university. So if that's if you're considering that, then the school is important to you. You want to listen, and you want to learn from her. Yeah, so that's what we do at JuCE. There's no point of going through this. We go through it every week, but we really want to support you as a secondary school child, or as a parent, to navigate your child's career, navigate the profession, what you want to be when you grow up. We want you to have vision and clarity. We don't want you to be confused or to stumble or to just do whatever the university offers you. We hope that by coming to these sessions, you will learn a lot that will support you to get to where you need to be. So how do you come in? You come in by being here every 2 weeks, showing up to these events. You come in by connecting with us on our social media and, sharing what we share. You come in by becoming, if you're a parent here who has a profession that they would like to showcase, or you want to become a mentor, in a certain profession, you come in by connecting with us to make that happen. You can also come in by being a sponsor. Many of the projects we run in some of these places, for example, in Enugu, require some certain degree of financial implication. So you can also support us as JuCE to get this, not just in Enugu, but in as many states as possible, in as many secondary schools as possible. Yeah, you can be a career partner. So if you own a business, if you work in a company, and you can provide internships to secondary school students, 1 or 2 week internships. The aim is to get them to be able to say, oh, I want to be a lawyer. I've been in a law firm for 1 week. I like what they do. I like the idea of what they do. And I think I want to pursue it. So that it's not they watch law on TV, on Suits or any TV program, and they think that's how law works. Real practical insights into professions. So you can partner with us to be a career partner by connecting with us. Salome will share our email and our phone number in the chat so that you can connect with us if that's the case. And of course, please tell others about JuCE, and specifically tell a teenager, tell a secondary school child or a secondary school student about JuCE so that they can join us, they can benefit from this program and every future program we have. We have some very exciting programs coming up, not just towards the end of this year, but even the rest of the year. So I'm sorry, even by next year as well. So you would want to, connect as many secondary school students to this as possible. So that wraps up the keynote pitch. I wanted to keep it short and sweet because we've gone through this quite a few times. But more than that, most of our information can be found on our website, on our social media. And if you need anything else, if you have questions, you can always, again, connect with us on our social network or our phone number. So that said, I'm going to move on to the reason why we're here today, which is how to position yourself for global university scholarships. And we have a really good friend of mine who will be speaking today, Chisom. Chisom and I actually met when we were both, not to date us or to age us, but when we were both 16, or I think she was 15 and I was 16, and we met, and Chisom is prolific. She is incredibly gifted, incredibly smart, and she went on to, apply to many of the top schools in the US, and she got scholarships to most of them. And and she went on to study in the US, and then she is today a financial analyst, if I'm not mistaken, a senior financial analyst. Okay, I'm probably mistaken, but yeah, so she's doing incredible things, and she has some real insights, to share into this. So please listen. And as always, if you have questions, you can either drop it in the chat or you wait till the end of the session. And if we have some time, we can take like in-person questions. Please remember to keep your questions relevant to today. You meaning discussing scholarships and all of that, not just general questions. General questions about JuCE we can answer on our email, on our phone number. But yeah, without much ado or further ado, I'm going to I'm going to pass it on to Chisom. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for honoring this. And I guess because you're in the US, it's pretty early right now, right? So thank you for the dedication and for showing up. So thanks, babe. And yes, I'm going to reshare. And yes, this is it. So please take it away. Oh, okay. Ask to unmute. Okay. Can you do that now?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Hi. All right. I'm unmuted. Hi, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here. I might actually take over the screen share just so that I can present because I think the formatting of the deck I sent you is a little wonky. So if you give me permission to do that, I will just, yeah. Yeah, just let me know once I can. Let's see. I think you might have to make me a host to be able to do it. But yeah, in the meantime, while we're trying to get that sorted. Oh, perfect. It looks like we're in. Um, perfect. Oh, okay. I might have to rejoin the meeting, but just give me.
Geez, sorry, my bad. I've been speaking, I've been talking. So thank you, Chisom, for coming back. But before Chisom continues, if you're from please let us know your school, your class, what state you're joining us from. So whether Lagos, Enugu, wherever you are. And yeah, please just let us know in the chat while we are setting up. But yeah, thank you for being here, guys. Chisom, you can take it away when you're ready. Do I need? Okay, I need to give you permission to unmute
There
again.
we are. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Hi. Okay, so hi everyone. I think we got it done. I'm screen sharing. You should be seeing just the JuCE background. Let me know if you're having any issues with that.
I
All
think
good? Okay. All right. So, hi. So, like I just said, Ada's a very cherished friend of mine. She's been an inspiration to me for the last, we're not gonna date ourselves, but I've known her half my life at this point. So, um, uh, yeah, I am currently, calling from New York. It is a little bit early here today, but I'm just so excited to see all you young people that are so, determined and focused and ambitious about your careers so early on. I think that's the best way to do it to ensure that you get exactly the outcomes that you want out of life. Today I'll be talking about two different scholarships. So like the scholarships that uh, get you kind of into college, which is what I'll be focusing on a lot. But before that, I want to set up the kind of mindset that you have to be in to start to think about these things by talking about my United World College scholarship application process as well. So please do feel free to jump in, ask any questions that you have. I want to make this like pretty interactive. So start asking questions in the chat. Solomon, please do feel free to interrupt. anything I'm saying with a question. And of course, we'll have Q&A at the end as well. So by way of introduction, my name is Chisom, or Jachimike, and I'm from Anambra State. I attended primary and secondary school in Lagos. I pretty much grew up there. And from Lagos, I went to United World College in Wales, which is where Ada and I started our journey together. From Wales, I went on to study biomedical engineering and computer science at Duke in North Carolina in the US. From there, using my computer science aspect of my degree, I went to work in the financial sector in New York, specifically as a research analyst, pricing fixed income securities. And yeah, just a few things that I think are very important for people to know on this call. I really like yam and egg. It's one of my favorite things. And my favorite time of the year is summer. My birthday's in the summer, and just that period after school, after one school year ends and before another school year begins, is just one of my favorite times. Um, yeah. So jumping in, I want to start talking about United World Colleges and, what that process was like. So, going to secondary school in Nigeria, you go to secondary school for 6 years, and typically you go to university afterwards. In a lot of American college systems, they go to a combination of middle and high school for 8 years. And after that, they go on to college. Especially for me, like coming in at 16, I actually was not old enough to like test into a lot of different college programs. And the United World College was a really unique opportunity to finish out those 2 years of high school at a really prestigious, IB program and potentially get all of that fully funded. So how did I find out about it? While I was in secondary school, was very involved in just academic and extracurricular activities. I was not only, doing all the things academically, like, coming first or whatever. But also I was in the debate team. I was in, I was going to public speaking courses. I was in the kind of prefect role. And, because of all that, I was quite visible to the kind of decision makers who would recommend you for scholarships like this. So specifically, my vice principal at Redeemers uh, called me, talked to me about the scholarship and told me that, I should really apply. I'm mentioning that because, part of what we all want to do here is position ourselves to get unique opportunities like this. And one of the things I think that really, really helped me was just being able to be visible to those decision makers by being very well-rounded and participating in extracurriculars. Of course, the thing is, while you're participating in all of this, you have to make sure that your grades are right, because at the end of the day, like your grades actually do determine if you're able to get into some of these really competitive programs. The application process for United World Colleges was also really unique. And again, another thing that prepared me for the eventual college scholarships that I got. We spent a weekend at a place called C School. I don't know if you guys are familiar with does that still exist? I don't know. But C School is it's a place, it's in Lagos, and it's kind of like a leadership, building course that a lot of prefects and just people in general in their senior years of secondary school go to. At C School, we were interviewed by the national committee who like tested us on different ways. They tested our quote unquote physical fitness, not really. They tested our ability to interact with others, to socialize, to exhibit leadership. And we actually did a lot of interviews around how we would interact on a global scale. So, were we able to adapt to foreign situations and still find a way to like carry ourselves and represent, ourselves and our country appropriately. So yeah, after C School, which was, that weekend-long interview, I got that scholarship, and that kind of opened the door for a lot of different things. Like I said, do feel free to like jump in, ask any questions that you have. But yeah, this is that the first of many things that happened to position me for undergrad scholarships. So while I was at United World College, one of the things that it allowed me to do was to get exposure to all the different colleges that existed and that had opportunities for me. So being from Nigeria, of course, I went to United World College. I knew it was going to be this 2-year IB program. I chose classes that positioned me to do what I thought I wanted to do at the time, which was medicine. So, to be a pre-med student, I took, biology, physics, chemistry, math, and biology, chemistry, math, English, French, and just things that I thought, would look very good on a resume for someone that is applying to college to study medicine. And because the school itself was in Wales in the UK, and being from Nigeria myself, the things I could conceptualize of where to go to college were either go to college in America, go to college in the UK, or go to college in Nigeria. So those were the primary places I was looking for universities and looking for places to apply to. Of course, I did go to the college in the US, so I do have a lot more to say about what that process is like. But I'm sure you guys have, had the opportunity. Someone like Ada, for example, who went to college in the UK, can be a great resource for how to navigate scholarships there. And being in Nigeria, going to secondary school in Nigeria, I'm sure there are a lot of resources for you guys to navigate admissions and scholarships there. So when I kind of narrowed it down to, the US being where I wanted to go, one of the things that United World College allowed us to do was just bring in admissions officers from a lot of those places. So we had people coming to visit us from Harvard, from MIT, from Duke, from different colleges all over the US because they were interested in this very unique international talent pool. So positioning yourself to get to the US for college really started at, the age of 14, 15 when I was interviewing to get to United World College, which is why you have to make the most out of every opportunity that comes to you because these things kind of have a cascading effect. Being at United World College in Wales allowed me to get exposure to these admissions officers that were flying in from the US to see us, to speak to us, and potentially to extend us admissions offers and scholarships as well. In networking, because they were coming to meet us, of course, it was a little easier for me to actually see the people that, would be the decision makers. But while you're, in secondary school in Nigeria, while you're there are a lot of different university fairs that happen that you can take advantage of. Those things they're not useless. They're definitely worth it because putting a face to a name, getting to know your story in the 30 seconds that you interact in person with an admissions officer actually does go a long way to positioning you to getting those scholarships. Another thing is that there's so many different opportunities for scholarships that can't fit on like a nice website page. A lot of the time, when you're researching a place, it takes your second, third, fourth time of looking at this place to see, oh, this is actually a scholarship that could be relevant to me. This is something that I could apply to. And some of the scholarships have like really weird names. They're really geared towards, a very niche set of people so that, at the end of the day, like you only hear about it by talking to people that are deep, deep, deep in the weeds and that know everything about the different scholarships that exist. Like I said, I don't know if questions are coming in, but yeah, do feel free at any point to.
I raised my hand. You couldn't say it. Just 2 points of note. I have muted everyone because sometimes it gets a bit rowdy because people are coming in or muting, all of that. So if people if people have questions, they'll drop it in the chat and, I'll prompt you. But secondly, you've spoken about the IB and UWC. I wonder if you could give a bit more insight into exactly what the IB is, right? Because I know at home, I'm not sure we're as familiar with the International Baccalaureate, that's the full name, but I don't think was familiar with it as A levels. I know everybody knows A levels, so
Mhm.
if you could just give some insight into that, that would be great as well. Thank you.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, I love that A levels you provided A levels as kind of a baseline because it's very similar. So your secondary school diploma is kind of your O level, right? So you do that, and typically to go to school in the UK, you have these additional 2 years or this additional credential that you need, which is A levels. The International Baccalaureate is an alternative to that. So for a lot of people, you either go the A level route or you go the IB route to get those additional credits that you need to complete that 8 years of middle/high school um, schooling that you need before you get into college. Uh, One of the unique things about IB, and Ada, definitely feel free to jump in and, you know, add to it, is that not only do you have the academic component, but there are these additional things that they want you to do as well from a community service perspective, from, developing like how to think, like philosophical and political thought, and just creating a very well-rounded, liberally educated individual. And by liberal, I just mean like, you know, pulling things from different schools of thought. So United World College was an IB program. You did 6 classes, um, as opposed to A level where, I think you do fewer than that. You can do like three things in your A levels. So you did these 6 classes, some at a high level, some at a standard level, and you did like community engagement. The United College program itself was also very focused on literally uniting the world. So there are a lot of kids from a lot of different countries. And so taking the IB was very appropriate because it really was about developing how to think and how to navigate like a very complex world. So that's one of the things I really enjoyed about it. Did universities like the IB? Yes, they did. So especially in the US, having an IB diploma, you know, reflected that you had gone through a very rigorous, high school education, that you could handle the workload. So having good results in your IB, in addition to having good results in your SAT, SAT2, really did position you for, the more competitive universities to get into. So yeah,
Chisom, I'm sorry.
mhm.
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry, I'm interrupting. I know you said
No, this
you
is what I
wanted
like.
an interactive session, so that's why I'm doing that.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, but just to like chip in on the IB, incredibly amazing, incredibly amazing opportunity. I didn't even know you were going to speak about it, but great that you did. Because I really believe we need more exposure about the IB program,
Mhm,
especially about the United World College, to
mhm.
other Nigerians. And I'm going to just
Absolutely.
take on the personal benefit of the program. So Chisom has spoken on just the huge intellectual um gap, or the huge intellectual jump, it gives for a child. Because if you're in an average school where you're all thinking similar thoughts, or there's not a lot of diversity. But in a UWC, I think during Chisom and I's year, there were like 80 nationalities, which sounds incredible. So we had people from, Israel, Nigeria, Cameroon, all sorts of countries around the world, 80 countries. And for example, in my room, for the first year, I was with a Dutch person, an American, and a Norwegian, right? So someone from Norway, someone from the Netherlands, and someone from the United States. And then in my second year, I was with, again, the Norwegian, and then someone from India, slash, she was Indian and British, and someone from Turkey. And what that means for you, we keep saying it on this platform about, just going out there, networking, connecting with people. What that means for you is that you're on in one sport, right? We were in Wales. I don't know if you know Wales. It's
Mhm.
it's just, we used to joke that we were in the middle of nowhere. We were not just in Wales, we were in Cranswick Major, some tiny city. But the beautiful thing is that you're indeed in the middle of nowhere, in quote, but you're connected to 80 countries in the world. Now how Norwegians, I said to know that Dutch people are, very direct, very straightforward. Nigerians, we beat around the bush a bit. Dutch people, and what that does for your mindset at 16, 17, 18, what that does for a child's exposure, automatically when you apply for scholarships or you stand before any interview panel, you automatically you just have more exposure to the world than an average person or somebody who might have done the UW, who might have done the IB or A level in any other program. So I'm glad you brought it up, Chisom. I think
Absolutely. If you want to get some more information about UWC, about the National Committee and how, people are selected for that process, definitely feel free to reach out. Yeah, it was a life-changing experience, and it's because of it that I am, where I am today. So I highly, highly recommend it. Of course, it's pretty selective. There were quite a few people from Nigeria that went, but I think scholarship wise, it didn't give, not everyone that went ended up getting a scholarship to go. But even if you don't get to go to that specific program, there are so many different short courses, kind of team building leadership experiences that happen in Nigeria, abroad, that you can attend during your downtime from school, whether it's summer, whether it's winter break, or, in the middle of school, that I think offer the same benefit, which is allowing you to gain exposure to different people's ways of thinking, how to interact in a setting that you're not familiar with. Because once you're good on grades, the next differentiator is whether or not you're able to carry yourself or be poised and be, charismatic and eloquent. And a lot of those skills are not things you're going to pick up in class. They're skills that you're going to pick up when you're actually faced with real world situations, which is what a lot of these short courses and, leadership development opportunities offer. I think, Ada, you mentioned that Dancehall was here. I do think in my C school times, I interacted with kids from dancehall as well. I think a lot of your secondary schools do offer those opportunities. So just step in and take full advantage. It may seem, a little bit cringe sometimes when you have to really show up and be your full self at things like that, but the benefits are, immeasurable. So let me, move on to the college applications. So in terms of, I went to Duke University, so I got a full ride to go to Duke University. My scholarship program had a very obscure name. It was the University Scholars Program. So nothing about that immediately suggested that it was something for someone like me, but it was. It was a scholarship that was around thought, around interdisciplinary thought. So can you imagine, for a lot of us, when we look at what a scholarship is, we think, okay, who's giving African scholarships, or who's giving people below a certain income level scholarships or something like that. And of course, I looked at all of those, but the one I got to that gave me everything I needed to attend Duke, for free, was about interdisciplinary thought. And the reason that I got it was because I was interested in studying more than one thing. That was it. So, if you're looking at things, don't limit yourself. Don't set your filter to, Global African Children Scholarship or something. Really think about who you are holistically as a person and where you can fit into a story, and craft the narratives around it. Apply to multiple scholarships. So not only did I apply to the university scholarship, I also applied to a Robertson scholarship, which was literally just this old man who had a ton of money and was giving it to people who wanted to study at Duke University or at United or at UNC Chapel Hill, which is another school that was in North Carolina. And of course, there are the income-based scholarships as well that you can apply to, and feel free and definitely research those and apply to those. So when we were getting people coming in to visit us at UWC, a lot of the questions I asked them were around, the admissions process. I indicated interest. You have to get them interested in you. So, if you go to an admissions officer and immediately start asking them about scholarship, it's not funny enough, it's not like the best way to set up that interaction. Like, you know, you want them to be interested in your story. You want them to push you up in the pile. And then you can kind of trust, especially in US, that money will come out, from somewhere. If they really want you, they're gonna find a way to get you in. Um, so, meeting admissions officers and being, pleasant, charismatic, endearing yourself to them really did help. And then I attended every presentation. So there was nothing that was trivial for me. If I'd heard it once, I will attend so I can hear it again. And what that allowed me to do was to become very familiar so that when the time came to actually do the applications, like I knew exactly, what I needed to say or write, how to position myself. And don't feel, awkward about telling a different side of your story, depending on where you're going or depending on who you're talking to. There are people that are going to be interested in you because you like, science. And there are people that are going to be interested in you because you played, you know, football or something. Like it doesn't mean that you don't have to tell everybody like everything about you. Look at what they're looking for, look at what they're saying, and position yourself as someone who really fits into their college campus and can really enrich the college experience. The application process involved a lot of essays. Write those essays and write them well. In the era of ChatGPT, I think a lot of people maybe are phoning it in, and you can always tell. So I recently went through the process with my little brother where we were writing college application essays, and he tried to get a ChatGPT essay past me, and it's so easy and so obvious to tell when that is done. And why ruin the opportunity? If you're applying to 20 things and you feel tired and overwhelmed and you want to kind of just phone it in for 10 of the 20 things, it's better to just apply to 10, because each step in the application process, there are 1,000 people, and that opportunity is only going to go to one person. So if you really want to be that one person, do you think you're going to be that one person with, a ChatGPT essay or with bad grades or without putting, your best foot forward? Probably not. Um, Getting the right IB credits. So A level, like Ada said, is something that is similar to IB in that sense. But what classes are you taking that will actually position you for this thing that you want to do? So if your whole college application is about how you want to be an astronaut, and you're taking econ and fine art, I think that doesn't necessarily translate, right? So you want to make sure that you've researched and you're taking classes that are pretty relevant to what you're applying to. Like I said, don't feel intimidated by the complex names that some of these scholarships have. If research, look at what the description of the scholarship is and think of how can you yourself bring value to what that scholarship is trying to promote. The full ride scholarship for me was a game changer. USA college tuition is expensive, and it's only getting more and more expensive. And by getting a full ride, it allowed me the freedom to like just go to the US without worrying about, you know, how my family was going to be able to support me or anything like that. I quickly actually also got a part-time job while I was in college, and that really helped financially and allowed me to just, focus on my studies and think of what the next steps would be. So,
Chisom, sorry to interrupt you again.
no, of course,
You
go
said
ahead.
full ride a few times. I know what it is, but I'm not
Oh,
sure.
yes.
So please, could you explain what it means to get a full ride scholarship?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. So university tuition is broken down in a couple different sections. So you have your actual tuition. Tuition is what you pay for your classes. So every class, costs a certain amount, you pay that. You also have fees, right? So you pay for books, you pay for um lab, you pay for facilities, things like that. That's fees. And then you have boarding. So you pay for your room, you pay for your feeding, things like that. And then you have just miscellaneous expenses, which is just the amount of money that you expect to just hold. Maybe it's for health insurance or things like that. So when they tell you how much it costs to go to school, they're typically including all of that. So you can sometimes you get your tuition covered, which means you just have to pay for your fees, your room and board, and miscellaneous. A full ride is something that covers everything. So you get your tuition covered, your room covered, your board covered, you get a little bit of pocket money, you get everything full done. What that means is literally like, you don't pay anybody anything to go to the school. You don't have to. It really helps also, since I'm talking to a Nigerian crowd, it really helps with the visa application process to get a full ride. Because then like there's no need for explaining your bank statements or anything like that because you're almost getting paid to go to the school. So that I think that was another thing that actually really helped with uh with just getting the visa process expedited for myself. That's another reason why I would recommend it. Yeah, did that answer the question?
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of, I don't want to like dive too deep into like the visa and application and all of that, but as Nigerians, I'm sure you guys know that it's not easy to to leave the country to go to school. Like, for better or worse, we don't have the best of reputations. And so as a result, one of the things that helps in especially US college applications is to one, get admission into a really prestigious school and to get a full ride. So of course, like that raises the bar so much, right? It means not only do you have to be the best, you have to be the best of the best, but it really does help and it really does make the process smoother for you if, you're not going to a school that isn't that prestigious or you have to pay out of pocket to go to the school. Um, so yeah, like one thing I did want to kind of really hit on is being proactive and doing thorough research. I think I already talked about this a bit, but the last thing about it is extracurriculars. Like do not, despise the humble like extracurriculars that are available to you. I don't know like what programs there are at your school right now, but like I said, my school was a day school in Ikeja. We had a basketball court that was also our soccer field. We didn't have much for extracurriculars, but I did debate, I did public speaking, I did anything that I could do to kind of boost my resume. Uh, Sports, dance, theater, those are all things that are available to you, even in Nigerian secondary school, that really do matter and really do set you apart. Of course, you have to make sure that your grades are stellar, but in addition to that, be well-rounded, be someone that they can actually have a conversation with. And if you're able to do that, you will ace the interviews because there are a lot of interviews that go into this process. People actually will talk to you face to face. And so you want to have a wealth of experiences and a personality, honestly, to go into those conversations with.
Just to piggyback off of that,
Mhm.
if you were not here during the session, we had a session sometime 2-3 months ago on things to do during your long holiday, right? So we spoke about the fact that we get these like 3-month holidays during the, I guess, summer holiday.
Yes.
And many times what we do as Nigerians is go back to summer lessons, and
Mhm.
this is really a great opportunity for you as a child or as a parent to get your child into these extracurriculars, right? So if maybe during the term it's very busy, they're not able to do it, this is the time. And we have a lot of exciting opportunities in Nigeria right now. Like apart from the things Chisom has mentioned, there are all these like coding camps and all of that. We're hoping to bring onto JuCE a young man who got into like some top universities as well. And he started based on going to a coding camp and then winning a coding camp competition. So these types of things like music, Musan still does like those music
Mhm.
lessons during the holidays. Don't, Chisom has spoken very clearly about the importance of your academics. Wonderful. You cannot compromise on that. But another part of it is, and what she's saying, have a personality. Your personality is a summation of everything you do. What makes you excited, what you enjoy doing, if you're not studying, what are you doing? And the truth is you cannot make it up. You cannot, it's not something you just say,
Exactly.
when I get there, we'll figure, no. And
No.
that's why JuCE does the work that we do. We don't want you to figure this thing out when, we get a lot of questions even at JuCE. Oh, I've graduated from secondary school. I want to go to this uni. What do I do? You have to start early. You start building your profile early. You start, curating your experience early in such a way that don't curate experiences and do the things you don't enjoy doing just because, oh, let me get into school. But actually and explore, what do I like doing? Do I like reading? Again, in the world of social media with TikTok, with Instagram and all of that, it's so amazing to imagine sitting in front of someone and saying, I love reading. So after reading every book, or every literature, I do like a TikTok thing about it. Here is my TikTok page. This is how much engagement. That already just shows entrepreneurship, initiative, drive, vision. Those are things you cannot make up. Okay, so we've spoken about this a lot, JuCE, and thank you, Chisom, for bringing it up like quite a lot. But again, this is why the work that we do here is necessary, and this is why the support of parents is needed. I'm really happy there are a lot of parents, especially dancehall parents on the call, but you really have to walk your child walk. And when I say walk, I mean walk with your child through this process as much as possible, support them through the process so that they can also get the experience that sets them up for success in future. So yeah, thank you. Sorry for the interruption again.
No, absolutely. I think I got a question in the chat about Harvard and what the process is like to get into Harvard. So I mean, like Ada said, I did go to Duke, so it's probably a little different. I think one thing, and I have like interacted with people who did go through that selection process. Harvard is one of those places that's also like need blind and will get you the money you need to get into college if as long as you get admission. And it's one of those places where being well-rounded is very, very, very important. Your story at Harvard has to be that you had stellar academic, experience. Like, of course, you are the best students of the best, but also that you have a mission, that you have something that you're using this education to fulfill. So, in terms of the application process, it's going to be pretty similar across the board. So you take your SATs, you take your SAT2s. For people like us, myself and Ada who did the IB, you're, taking the relevant credits to, uh, you know, apply to a program that you're interested in. Typically, if you're doing liberal arts, you can do any program that just seems rigorous. I think that's another thing is, showing that you can take hard classes is typically, a bonus for you. And then, yeah, you fill out your Common App, you indicate Harvard as interest, and then you go to those presentations and interviews. Because of United World College, we were able to meet admissions officers, including Harvard admissions officers. But if you're, you know, not at United World College, the thing that you want to do is find places where those people will be. Like applying just online and just dropping your application into the ether for any college, whether it's Harvard or Duke or something, it's gonna reduce your chances of success if you're just like a face on a screen. But if there are places where Harvard alumni are meeting, or there's college fairs for really prestigious colleges where, someone like a Harvard admissions officer would be, that's where you want to go. That's where you want to be. During the interview process, they have alumni typically interview people who are trying to apply to the school. So typically you go to the alumni's house, they'll, make you dinner and like they'll talk to you. And so to position yourself to be in there, like who are the Harvard alumni that live in Nigeria? Who are the Harvard alumni that live in, West Africa? I know like that kind of makes it a little bit more daunting what the process is, but yeah, this is how this works. This is how to really get your foot in the door. is to know, put a face to a name and actually interact face to face with the place you're trying to get to. Yeah. So that's really about positioning yourself, creating opportunities for me. Like I just said, the TikTok example is a very good way of showing that initiative. Is, how do you take what you are doing now? How do you take like the situation you find yourself in and create an opportunity to get you to where you want to be? So if you are really interested in entrepreneurship and you started a business, can you engage with a program that the school offers? So for example, if you're really interested in climate friendly energy solutions, I just I just made that up. Maybe you're making one of those solar ovens that we like to make in secondary school, or you're doing like one of these rechargeable torches that you crank with your hand or something. And just looking at these examples of things that we did in science projects. And you find that this university that you're interested in has a program where they've funded $1 million to promote these research things in sub-Saharan Africa. That's you, right? Immediately you jump in there and you say, hey, I'm making this solar oven. I really want your support. I want to hear how you guys are all doing it. And potentially I want funding. Why not, right? It's an email that you send. It's already positioning yourself. It's doing something that you're already interested in. And that gets you on their radar. Next thing you know, they invite you to come up for a summer, like I was talking at their school, where you get to see what that campus is like. It's kind of a pre-interview. And yeah, you secure admission and you're on your way. A lot of these things stack up. A lot of these things start so early that by the time you've graduated from secondary school, you're almost out of the race. So starting very early and really, really, focusing on exposing yourself as much as possible to, these universities is going to be really crucial. Yeah. So like I said, attend events, network, research, and yeah, like this is the last slide I have here. Put effort in, build relationships, believe in yourself. Like there's no reason why it can't be you. So if you see an opportunity that sounds complex or sounds really prestigious, there's no reason at all why it's not going to be you. Whoever gets it is not better than you. And if you really want it, put your whole heart into it, put all the effort into it, and it will come out successful. It may not be every single thing that you apply to that comes out, but typically all you need is one. So if you're going full force into everything, you will get that one that will position you. So yeah, any questions?
I think there was a question in the chat, or a series of questions in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted you to like maybe come back to it. So if it's okay
Okay.
with you, I could read it, so that everyone as well could. I think you've answered a question in Harvard, so
Yeah.
that's done. And then there's a question that said, okay, so please speak more about the foundation things, the IB, the A levels, United World College. What is the admission criteria? What
Mm-hmm.
are the opportunities for scholarship? Then
Mm-hmm.
another question, which I think is really, well, I guess we can all just answer all the questions. What if you have an average O-level result? Sorry, okay, an average O-level result like B's
Mm-hmm.
and C's,
Mm-hmm.
try out for these programs.
Mm-hmm.
And then further on the question for UWC, for the UWC, for example, will WIAC qualify you for that,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or you need to have done
Yeah,
IGCSE?
WIC is fine.
Okay. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, and then another question says, please, any advice on IB schools in the US? So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
So,
before you go on, if
mm-hmm.
there are any questions from Nkemjika, from CFM, from the students, please, like we always do, just listen to the questions, know that they're sieve through to know that they're specific and relevant for this. And you can either type it in the chat or the students can ask directly. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So I'll start with like breaking down the UWC. Okay, so the C school. Yeah, so C school is it's called a school, but it's really more a leadership and development camp that kids in secondary school typically go to. I don't know if they've managed to figure out getting a website, but typically your secondary school will take you to C school if maybe you're a prefect, you typically go on these retreats to C school, or in your last year of secondary school. And United Royal College does their interviews at C school. So C school is the name of a place as opposed to a specific type of program or anything. But the reason I mentioned it is just to show how at the end, like these things jump out of the academic sphere and go into things like leadership, things like social interaction to really determine who gets opportunities like this. So, yeah, the interview could have happened anywhere, but the reason we did at C school, so we could do those obstacle courses, we could do those leadership and interaction sessions, we could do interviews where they really see us interact in the real world. Building up your child to be able to thrive in something like that, it helped that I had been to C school before because I was a prefect. But there are so many different ways that we can enable kids to just build that confidence in themselves, whether it's in church programs or in extracurriculars and other ways. But yeah, can your child like confidently interact in an unfamiliar situation? Can they sleep away from home? That's another thing that C school like checks with you. You're sleeping in bunk beds. Like, if you're attending a day school, that's something that, you want to make sure that your child is able to do. Of course, I see people calling in from a hostel, so I'm sure you guys are pretty comfortable with that aspect. So yeah, the 8 years versus 2 years thing. Secondary school is 6 years. In America, middle school is 4 years and high school is 4 years. And so by the end of it, you're usually 18 years old, and then you go ahead. There are a lot of people that start secondary school at 12 in Nigeria. And so you do your 6 years and then you're 18 when you go on. But for the purposes of, the full education, they want you to have like 8 years of that middle school to high school education, typically in the US. With WIEC though, like because WIEC is kind of an equivalent of O/A level, a lot of people actually can get into college in the US with just WIEC. So what that means is IB is helpful because the IB program is very academically rigorous. So when you show up when you submit an application and you say, I've done IB, what you're proving to the admissions officer is that you can handle like a really rigorous course load. But, you can also apply with WIEC. You can apply with, your GCE O levels. You can, of course. It's just the academic rigor of those two things is different. That's what that comes to. Same with A levels. An A level is going to be harder than an O level, but you can apply to a US school with O or A level. It's just if they're evaluating two applicants and they see that someone was able to complete A level, that just shows that they're potentially more prepared for the academic rigor of the college program, and that can favor them. What's the admission criteria for United World College? I think that, and Ada, definitely feel free to opine as well, is you're recommended first from your secondary school, and then you're recommended by the national committee. So to be recommended from your secondary school is kind of, it's to be the best of the best in your secondary school. So are you coming first? Are you having a high profile? Are you a prefect? Are you showing that you are going to be a good ambassador of the school? I know that that can be like tough to hear, but I do think a lot of that is within your control. And for me personally, when something is within my control, I think it's a little easier for me to strategize how to get there. So you can put your effort into your academics to make sure that you have good results. And you can, well, the prefect stuff is a little harder to be selected, but you can show good moral character. You can, interact pleasantly with everyone you meet. And that really sets you up to be recommended by your school. And then once you get recommended by your school, you go to these weekend interviews. And if your national committee selects you, then that's how you go. So that process is very it's merit-based, but also very kind of subjective in the selection. Scholarships, yes. So in our year, they sent 4 Nigerians in our year. Of the 4 Nigerians, we had one scholarship. Um, I got the scholarship to go to Atlantic College. But there were other colleges as well in the United World College system that also got scholarships. So they sent like overall, I think there were quite a few Nigerians that went in our year. And I think a couple of us got scholarships. So there are definitely scholarships available. What if you have average O levels like B's and C's? Um, it's not impossible. Like I said, it's about being well-rounded. So if you're having average O levels, but you have a story that is still equally compelling, so maybe, you may not be a good test taker, but you're really interested in a particular line of research or a particular field of, I don't know, a particular field of study, and you can prove that you're committed to it and that you're able to, you know, engage somebody in a topic that you're interested in. I still think there's a path. It's just harder. That's just the truth. It's harder. For something like United World College, I think that if you were coming in with B's and C's, you might not get the same consideration as somebody who was getting all A's in the same process, right? Imagine they have two applications and somebody has A's, somebody has B's and C's. For a lot of people, it's just easier to like start talking to the person with A's. And if you don't find everything you're looking for in the person with A's, then you start looking at the B's and the C's. So it's definitely doable. There's nothing that can't be turned around, but I would encourage pretty early on to try to make sure that that's not a hindrance to you. Um, for the UWC, well, I guess. So we did that. Is there anything I'm missing?
Yeah.
SAT, how can you do the SATs?
Questions.
Um, So there are SAT testing centers all over ISL. International School Lagos has an SAT testing center. Yeah, you enroll, you go to College Board, you enroll as an international student. You pay for the SATs and you take the SATs at ISL. If you're in Lagos. If you're not in Lagos, I'm sure there are testing centers all over Nigeria.
Yeah, so like I shared in the chat, some of these questions are really readily answered. Like if you just go, I've shared this severally during our JuCE sessions. Guys, your phones are not just for TikTok and Instagram. It's very addictive. It's so much fun. I spend a lot of time there. I'm trying to help myself as well. But genuinely, if you have any question, no matter how random it is, you see this question now, oh, where can I sit for the SAT? Type it on Google. You
Yeah.
get, in fact, the problem with Google is information overload. It's not lack of information. So many times, many of these questions will easily, you would get a lot of support from Google, So I've spoken a few times on this platform about as a young person, what you're using your screen time to do. When
Mhm.
you have billions of dollars and you're successful and all of that, you can spend all day on the phone doing nothing or nonsense. But right now, when you're trying to build and get some of these like most prestigious opportunities, please use your search and this is not even being rude or funny. It's genuinely, I use it when I have the most random question, chat GPT or just Google search. It's wonderful. You get a ton of information and then you sieve through. Oh, okay. If they have a center in Abuja, no, I can't do Abuja. Okay, maybe they have one closer to me at this. That's how. And also, if you cannot learn to research these types of questions, you really cannot survive, to research a scholarship or even now to even research while you're in school. So let's start building some of these skills now, right? We really need to, as Nigerians, as young people. So please, yeah, when I say it's readily available on Google, it's a skill you must develop. So please use it. Chisom, there are more questions.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so I can
So
read it
what
out.
type of, what was
Oh,
that?
yeah, yeah. Now, I was going to read it out so that everyone knows what question you're tackling at each point, but you can also do that as well, right?
Okay. Yes. So I'm doing it chronologically. Um, how can I do the SATs? We've answered what exam is proper. Okay, IGCSE versus SAT. It's an and. So the SATs, think of it like jam. So whatever you do the SATs as well. Um, so you can take both. What type of extracurricular activities should someone engage in if you want to go for pre-med? So that's a good question because, like I said, you want to show up as well-rounded. If your whole thing is that you did biology and chemistry and then you worked in a hospital and now you want to go for pre-med, sometimes that works. But there are also going to be people who like did biology and chemistry and played badminton, and that's also good for them. So the idea is, are you a full human being? But, for pre-med, especially if someone asks you, like, why do you want to be a doctor? It's good to show that you have actually engaged in the healthcare system in some way. So, yes, definitely go help out at a hospital. One of the things that we did while I was in undergrad was shadowing. So you just shadow a doctor for, a few days. Typically, shadowing counts already. You can also work as a scribe where you're just like helping with like health records and trying to understand what the complexities of the healthcare system where you are. Yeah. So your extracurriculars don't have to be necessarily pre-med related, but to the extent that you can volunteer, you can shadow, you can do things within the healthcare field to form your story about your why, please do go for it. Yeah, that's what I would say. Uh, what's next? Can your A level get a scholarship into university? Yes. So if you have a good A level score, that can be really helpful and beneficial towards applying to scholarships at university. I'm talking specifically about the US, but remember, again, it's not just about your A level. You have to find a scholarship, apply to the scholarship, and have a strong A level to show when you're applying. So to Ada's point about researching, there's thousands upon thousands of scholarships. There are even websites who their whole thing is aggregating scholarships. You have to find them, put yourself in front of them, and show them that you have a good A level so that you can get it. It's possible to apply to prestigious universities in America. We don't know why. Yes, it is. But like I said, the academic rigor of the different programs is what sets people apart. So WIC is considered, O level, and things like IB and A level are considered a bit harder. So yes, if you have a good story, you have a good motivation, you have good WIEC, you can get into schools in the US. But if it's between you and someone who did something a bit more advanced, that might be the deciding factor. What other exams are needed? Take your SATs, of course. And if you have access to A level or IB, definitely do that. Um, yeah, what else? I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. Nkemjika, is there any question from CFM in Enugu? If there's no question, I would like to swiftly move on to the announcements and then what we'll be doing for the next few sessions, please. I don't know if you're here or if you're okay. Let me ask you to unmute. Thank you so much, Chisom, by the way.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, and I think I'm gonna go on mute now.
Okay, I don't think there is any serious question. If there the little that they've written is something I can really
Okay.
clarify for them. So that will not waste much time. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you so much. Great. I'm just going to share my screen again. Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm going to jump to this and then thank you so much, Chisom, for that again. I'm just going to go into some of our upcoming events. So again, like I've shared before, we love to speak to specific careers, right? So we love to speak to all sorts of careers. We've had a doctor, a maritime lawyer, we've had an animator, and now we have one of the leading actresses in Nigeria. She's an actress and a creative consultant, a deeply brilliant person. She's actually spoken on JuCE platform before. So if your child, and we've been talking about extracurriculars, right? So if your child is interested in, it's typical at home that your child is interested in acting. You're like, no, no, you won't be an actress. But if you want to know what that world looks like, what it means to have that as an extracurricular and all of that, you really would want to attend this. JuCE is deeply brilliant, and you would want to meet her. Then we had a question 2 sessions ago about picking tech careers, and this session is for you. The world is going, agog with tech here, tech there. But what types of careers exist in tech? What do you want to do even in tech? There's the saying we have at home that tech is the new oil. So how do you tap into this oil? You want to attend this session. We have an HR person within tech, and she works for the talent pipeline company. And when we speak again about extracurriculars, she helps with getting trainings on tech, but even finding you internships with global companies. So you're not just learning, you're getting the opportunity to practice and do an internship. And we have Akitunde Brown, who is a self-taught tech professional, and he will be speaking on his journey as well. So again, a deeply exciting session to attend. And then we have a self-taught translator. Frances taught herself Korean, and she is going around the world now acting as a translator for Nigeria with our international/diplomatic conversations with Korea. So again, very exciting. So this is when we talk about researching and using Google and the internet for a force for good. This is the type of thing we're trying to showcase. So please have that in mind. And then we have a special announcement, again, talking about extracurriculars and all of that. We have our first JuCE Africa Scholarship. And what this means is that we're going to be sponsoring 4 lucky students to take some online courses. The courses are in writing, in research, in public speaking, critical thinking, making an impact, resilience, entrepreneurship, verbal communication, and creative problem solving. Again, you heard Chisom speak today about how it's important to be a rounded person. The person talking about Harvard, how it's important to show you have a mission and an impact and a reason you want to, a difference you want to make. These are 10 different courses offered by Eton College. Eton College is one of the leading secondary schools in the UK. In fact, it's one of most prestigious. It's where most of the royalties go, so it's a very prestigious institution, and they have some of these short courses online. You get to pick one of the courses you're interested in, and you get to apply, and we're going to take you through a process, writing an application, having an interview. Again, see this as a way of preparing for the university. See this as a way of preparing for the scholarship, for what you want. Again, see it as a way of showing that you're not just into academics, but you're also exploring other interests, So take an entrepreneurship class, take a class on making an impact, and we will be sponsoring 4 lucky students. So how do you get in? Just basically either scan the QR code that is currently on your screen, or register with us at the link here, or just send us a text. I think our phone number is in the chat, but it's also currently on the screen. Send us a text on our phone, or send us an email, and we would again share the process with you, share this link with you. Registration closes 15th of October 2024. So that means it's barely 2 weeks away, or just a little over 2 weeks away. So please get in your applications as quickly as possible, and let's get you the opportunity to have some really exciting time. If you're in the hostel, for example, Danso Secondary School, we're going to connect with your guidance counselors that we've been speaking to, and we're going to find a way for you guys to register while you're in school. But again, it would be a competitive process, so you really want to put your best foot forward and show why we should pick you. And even if you're not picked, like every school or every institution, you have the opportunity to, go yourself and, pay for the course yourself and take the course. I highly recommend it because it's, it really focuses on some things that traditionally our Nigerian educational system, unfortunately, doesn't really, support. So verbal communication and creative problem solving, the critical thinking, very important skills that you need for today, but also for the future and where the world is going. So that's it. The JuCE Africa, our first JuCE Africa scholarship. So please let us know. Okay, so we're going to please just take our number and we're going to text you the QR code. Apologies for that, but take our number from the screen, text us, and we will send you, once we open up the QR code for registration, we will send you the link again. So thank you very much, everybody, for being here. Before then, thank you so much, Chisom. I know how early it is in the US, and the fact that you agreed to do this, it means a lot. I'm very honored. And I think Chisom and I, we were in a competition of who is more inspired by the other, but take it from me, take it from me that Chisom is huge inspiration. She's deeply brilliant and genuinely, a force of nature. So you would want to take her advice, and more than taking her advice, you would want to actually work on it. So thanks so much, Chisom, for being here. Thank you to every student who is here, every parent who is here trying to support their child to get on the to find their way. Again, I always say we cannot do this without it's a joint effort of JuCE, the students, the parents, and the schools. We all hands on deck, so thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for the JuCE members and the people who make this happen every 2 weeks. Thank you so much, everybody. And, enjoy your weekend. Have a lovely weekend. And of course, any questions, any thoughts, anything you want, if you need mentorship, we have people contacting us on our phone number or on our email to just ask, oh, I need direction getting XYZ. We're very happy to support. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a good Saturday and a good weekend. Bye.